Hello there. I have ankylosing spondylitis, and being British and part of the British healthcare system, I love the NHS. I would want to protect that under every circumstance. So, when it comes to what I've been seeing on TikTok recently, there seems to be a lot of things like, vote reform. I know that the BBC have come out and said that a lot of these are bots that have said vote reform, and it's the same thing over and over again, posted on multiple sites. So I don't read a lot into it. But there are a lot of posts by people then that pick up on that and then are pushing their agenda and their what they class as their contract rather than a manifesto. Okay, so NHS, I love it, right? It really works well for me. I have ankylosing spondylitis. It's a long-term illness. I'm never going to get cured from it. It's there forever. So the NHS, I have annual reviews of the actual progression of it. But if there's any problems, I have reviews in between that. I have blood test reviews, every couple of months. Basically, they're really supportive of me, which is fantastic. Now, going to the reform side of things. Now, there's two things in their contract which really, really scare me from the NHS perspective. Number one, they want to leave the ECHR. That's the European Court of Human Rights. Now, if they leave that, they are available, or they are allowed to make their own, what they class as human rights laws here in the UK. What does that mean? On its own, that they can kind of do away with certain things like it would help them with their immigration policy, put it that way. But also, they're reading into a lot of things that they've said and what they represent. They want to get people back into work, and much like the Conservatives do. But sometimes some people can't work. Now, that aside, the ECHR means that they could get rid of the protection that disabled people have. So, that's one part of it. Now, the other thing that worries me is the NHS side of things. They want to move it to something that is more akin to the France healthcare system. Now, the French healthcare system works slightly different. It's not privatized, but equally it's not funded in the same way. There are employers and employees contributions. I used to work in a similar area years ago, doing these sorts of things. So there is money generated through employment for what goes towards there. Let's just call it the French NHS for now, but it's not called that. Okay, right. So my issue is, if they do that, there is supplementary amounts that people insure themselves over in case there's bigger things going on. So, for example, this is an analogy of how something would work. Okay, so with the French system, you pay in through your employer's contributions and employees' contributions. Yep. And then from that, you would get, say, It would cover doctor's appointments. It would cover, sort of blood tests. These are all kind of examples, but not exact things. It might cover like one blood test a year, or it might cover, one hospital visit a year. That sort of thing. Yeah, it doesn't cover everything for free like ours does. But if you want more cover, you have to pay extra. So that's your kind of privatization part of it, I guess, where you might pay an extra $50 a month. Let's take that as an example. Again, not real money here. It could be 10, 20, what, I don't know. It would be for an insurance company to determine what you would put in to what you would get out. Now, interestingly, a lot of the Reform Party funders, the top guys that actually own the limited company, work in insurance, funnily enough. So I'm sure that they would get the contract for this and make exceptional amounts of money. Insurance is big, big, big business. Okay, so to get better levels of service, you have to pay in. It's simple as that. Now, in France, you do get some of the money reimbursed if you apply for it, or over and above what you've paid for. So say, for example, you have, again, this is an analogy. If you have, you're allowed one doctor's appointment, you have one doctor's appointment, and that's for something that's gone wrong with your hand. That's paid for. Then over here, you might have something wrong with your foot. That's a separate issue, which means you're going to have to pay for it. But if the first one is your hand, and then you've got a follow-up one for your hand again, they might reimburse, say, 70% of what you've paid in for that, or what your insurance covers for that. That's how that would work. Now, I'm going to tell you a little thing about my medication, right? My medication, and a lot of people on ankylosing spondylitis are on biologics. Now, biologics, generally speaking, I'm not just going to pluck a figure out of the air, but I would say on average, they're about £1,000 a month. That's 12 grand a year. Now, what insurance company is going to come along and say, yeah, I'll cover you, knowing that you're already costing the system 12 grand plus all the support every year, 12 grand a year. They're going to just go, you're not going to get insured, mate. I can't insure you. I've already been turned down for insurance in this country from the big named insurers. I won't name them, but I'm sure you could guess who they are. They wouldn't do it because I've got too much going on with me. That goes wrong. I don't know what your thoughts are on whether that is, a viable kind of way of working. To me, that's not. I've put two and two together. I've looked at the bigger picture there, and I don't believe what Reform are doing are or is any good for any kind of minority, whether it be disability, whether it be immigrants coming in, whatever. I just don't believe that they're doing the right thing. And this is coming from my own personal need and want in terms of the disability. So I wanted to get that information out there. Do some homework on it, check it out, see what you think of it, ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer anything on this subject. I'm not an expert, but I will certainly, get everybody's ideas together in the comments or something like that, and we can get to where we need to get. All right? Strength in numbers. Let's do this. Let's stick together and get something sorted. All right, guys. Cheers.